How's it going, everyone? The PlayStation Store continues to run its massive spring sale, and there are a ton of great deals under the price of $10, and we'll be highlighting some of those in this video. This isn't even all of the deals, but these are the ones that stood out to me. Tried to stay away from some of the PlayStation Plus extra titles. Sometimes it's just a little unavoidable, and I did mention a couple of them just because I thought they were pretty good deals, and for a variety of different reasons. And, you know, with Sony now cycling out Marvel's Spider-Man, you know, a first-party game, really nothing's off the table as far as games getting cycled out. But nevertheless, let's get right into it, and let's start things off with Valkyria Chronicles Remastered, which is 70% off for $5.99. Valkyria Chronicles 4 is also on sale, but I would recommend you to get the complete edition of Valkyria Chronicles 4. Nevertheless, Valkyria Chronicles Remastered is really good. This is a game that I feel like is very good, even if you don't particularly enjoy JRPGs. Like, it's still got a story that I feel like anybody can get into, you know, a war story that's relatively emotional. Sometimes, you know, the characters don't have the greatest amount of depth to them, but they're still fairly likable, and I found the overall narrative and the world that they built here pretty good. The gameplay's super interesting. It's a tactical-based game, very much different from a gameplay standpoint than other JRPGs, but a really solid one, and for $6, no-brainer there. Strong recommendation, all things considered. Next up, Last of Us Part 2, 75% off for $9.99. Look, I could talk about this game for hours on end. While I am vocal about the fact that this wasn't my favorite game in the world, and honestly, I did not really enjoy the narrative decisions that were made in this game. However, I always like to say that is just my opinion, and when you strip away my opinions on the narrative, when you actually assess this game from a gameplay standpoint, a technical standpoint, those elements are incredibly strong. Added to the fact that there is a large amount of people that really found the story incredibly compelling and found the narrative decisions incredibly compelling, incredibly emotionally gripping. From my standpoint, yes, I didn't like the story, but overall, for $9.99, I would still say this is a game that everybody needs to at least give a shot to, so easy recommendation there as well, especially at that price point. Next up, we have Fallout 4, 67% off for $6.59. Might as well just throw in Elder Scrolls V Skyrim Special Edition, 75% off for $9.99. Both of these games are available with PlayStation Plus Extra. They are both Bethesda titles, so that's a little interesting how that really works with Bethesda being owned by Microsoft now. So, you know, nevertheless, Fallout 4 is a game that's going to get a PS5 upgrade. That's why I want to recommend this now, just because by the time the PS5 upgrade comes out, it might have a little bit of that Witcher 3 syndrome, where Witcher 3 came out and it got a free upgrade to the PS5, and then the price got jacked up as well. Now, this is the base Fallout 4 game. Ideally, maybe some of you guys would like to get the Game of the Year edition. See if that goes on sale sometime in the near future. It probably will, but for now, $6.59 for that is great. And Skyrim Special Edition, no-brainer there. Skyrim is one of my favorite games of all time. I've completed this game like an absurd amount of times, and I played the Skyrim originally on the PS3. If you know how bad this game was on the PS3, oh my goodness. And I still love the game on the PS3, but now having the Special Edition, 75% off for $9.99, no-brainer there, a quality PS5 upgrade to that as well. Next up, we have A Way Out, which is 80% off for $6. A Way Out is a really enjoyable co-op title, which Hazelight has done a really good job in kind of cultivating this niche for themselves, where they are the stars of the co-op market, just because there's not a lot of options. And A Way Out, while it's not a super lengthy experience, it's an enjoyable co-op game that you can sit down with a buddy, or you can play online and have a good time with it. And best of all, if you buy this game, you can invite a person to play with you for free. So, like, that's making the co-op aspect even more accessible, where another person doesn't even have to buy the game. It is available through EA Play, so you can play it that way, but $6 for it, no-brainer as far as that's concerned. Speaking of co-op titles, an absolute classic in my opinion, Castle Crashers Remastered is always a good time, 60% off for $5.99. This is a game that came out on Xbox 360 way back when, probably like 2010, 2011. It's been a long time, but Castle Crashers still holds up as just a enjoyable co-op action beat-em-up title. However, this is a game that you absolutely should play cooperatively. Sure, can you play it solo? I guess, but this is a game that shines with its co-op aspect. Just sitting down with a couple friends or online and just having a great time with it. It's a timeless experience. The art style is super charming, and it's held up really well all these years later, you know, north of a decade since it's come out, and for $6, great price on this as well. Next up, we have Mafia II, the Definitive Edition, 67% off for $9.89. Mafia II, this version is like kind of memes. Like, there's really nothing definitive about it outside of the fact that it does have the base game, has the DLC content, but Mafia II itself is a great single-player title that's incredibly narrative-driven. you know, I would recommend you to play Mafia 1 first, but Mafia 2 is a great game as well. The gameplay does show its age a little bit, but it's absolutely fine, and I think thematically and from a narrative standpoint, incredibly strong, incredibly mature story here. $9.89 is a great buy. Not a super lengthy game, but it doesn't need to be. It gets in, tells its story, and then you can move on to the next game. Next up, Metro Exodus, 80% off for $5.99. What a fantastic deal on this, that Metro Exodus is. $6 for a great atmospheric first-person shooter that has a great PS5 upgrade as well. Strong narrative to this as well, and quality gameplay. It is single-player only, so bear that in mind, and I do recommend you play the Metro title sequentially, so, you know, ideally, you should play Metro 2033, you should play Metro Last Light, and then ultimately you should jump into Metro Exodus. But if you want to jump right into Exodus, nothing too wrong with that, and $6 is a very, very tempting proposition as far as a price point goes. Next up, BioShock The Collection, 80% off for $9.99. Look, do we really need to sell you more on BioShock The Collection? It's tremendous. It includes BioShock 1, BioShock 2, and BioShock Infinite. I am a little bit of, I guess, in the minority as far as opinion goes on what is the best BioShock game. BioShock Infinite just hit home with me, man. I love the setting shift to BioShock Infinite. I love the gameplay in that game. I thought it was done so well from a pacing standpoint, and the narrative was still incredibly compelling. BioShock 1, I get it. A lot of people have a soft spot for that game, and that game definitely has an ambiance to it that is hard to replicate, and BioShock Infinite is different from that sense. But man, it's 1A, 1B as far as I'm concerned. BioShock 2 obviously is in third place, but it's still a pretty darn good FPS, all things considered. First-person, you know, adventure game more so. But $9.99 for BioShock The Collection, no-brainer there as well. Next up, Risk of Rain 2, 75% off for $6.24. This is a game that I bought way back when it was in early access with its initial PC launch on Steam, and I enjoyed it back then. However, I was getting a little frustrated with the game. I ended up uninstalling it, then reinstalled it immediately. It's an incredibly addicting game, and it's incredibly replayable as well. I do recommend you play this game cooperatively as well. But great art style to this one as well, and took Risk of Rain 1, dropped it into a whole new style of gameplay, but worked out pretty well, all things considered. $6.24. Again, get a couple of friends to pick it up if you can, and you're in for a good time with that one as well. Next up, we have South Park: The Stick of Truth, 75% off for $7.49. Is available through PlayStation Plus Extra. I've told my story with this game several times. First of all, not a big South Park fan, have nothing against it, and especially leading up to the release of this game, I kind of picked it up on a whim, not even knowing anything about Obsidian really at that time. You know, it was back in like 2012, 2013. I wasn't really following development studios like that. However, I saw that South Park was getting a RPG, and I was like, you know what, screw it, let me try it out. And man, oh man, was I blown away by this game. Now, first of all, since this game came out, I have seen some of South Park. I'm still not like an ardent fan or anything like that, but it's humorous to me. If you're a fan of South Park, you are going to doubly enjoy this game. This game is absolutely hilarious, and it hits the comedy that South Park is known for. The art style obviously will take you back to what South Park is, and fundamentally, the craziest thing about it is it's a well-made RPG, which is almost honestly funny because it's a South Park game, but then it's also like fundamentally really well designed, and give credit to where credit is due. It's Obsidian after all. They do a great job, so $7.49 for this. Great pickup. Again, available through Plus Extra. Next up, Burnout Paradise Remastered, 70% off for $6. I played this way back in January of 2008 when it initially came out. Checked out this remastered version. Going back and playing this remastered version, you can definitely see Burnout Paradise's age. I mean, at this point, 15 years, almost 15 and a half years since Burnout Paradise initially came out. Man, are we getting old. But, you know, there's age to it. However, at the same time, if you want to just mentally check out and just play a fun arcade racer, man, Burnout Paradise is a really solid one. You know, we don't have Forza Horizon on PlayStation, but if you want an open world arcade racer with some chaos to it, Burnout Paradise is going to give you that. Crazy crashes, crazy gameplay, a lot of content as well, and a great soundtrack on top of that of licensed music. You know, when you got My Curse by Killswitch Engage, for my money, you're not going to get much better of a soundtrack than that. So $6 for Burnout Paradise Remastered. Great buy, all things considered. Next up, Borderlands Game of the Year Edition. $9.89 on this, 67% off. Now, this is Borderlands 1. I imagine the majority of you guys have Borderlands the Handsome Collection. Like, at some point, I figured most of you guys picked it up, so why not circle back and play Borderlands 1 if you haven't yet? Borderlands 1 is a really, really good game. This has some refinements that were introduced in Borderlands 2, and it's still a quality co-op shooter, and Borderlands as well, much like Castle Crashers, gets this rep of you have to play it cooperatively. I don't feel that truly about that statement with Borderlands. I feel like Borderlands is still enjoyable from a solo standpoint. Maybe I'm crazy about that opinion, but I've completed like all the Borderlands games solo. Like I've played them cooperatively as well, but I had a great time with at least Borderlands 1 and 2 solo, so I'd recommend this. At $9.89, goodbye there. And lastly, XCOM 2 The Collection, 90% off for $9.99. Now, XCOM 2, the base game, is available on Plus Extra, but the collection will get you a bunch of DLC content, including the major expansion War of the Chosen. That's really what you're paying for here. And $9.99 for this collection includes a lot of content, and if you're not even a big fan of tactics games, I've said it in the past, XCOM Enemy Unknown is one of those games that really got me, not even into tactics games, it was just a tactics game I really enjoyed. Played it on a whim, ended up having a great time. Enemy Unknown only available on the PS3, but XCOM 2 builds upon Enemy Unknown's success. It still can be an incredibly challenging game, but incredibly rewarding at the same time, and a lot of replayability. $10 for this, $9.99, great buy as well. So that's gonna do it for me. Again, as always, links to all of these deals will be in the description box below. You got a couple more weeks to check out all of these deals. The spring sale is not gonna end until April 27th, so a lot of time to pick out what you want. But that'll do it for me. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.